The team that doesn't know how to lose. The team that can't win in regulation, though. They always got to go overtime to do it. But they have had a terrific first half. Louisville settled for a lot of jump shots, and a lot of them didn't fall for the Cardinals in the first half.
Well, that was really the issue, is Louisville's offense. They did settle for a lot of jump shots. They were 4 of 15 from 3, shooting only 39% in that first half. And that meant they couldn't get into their press. They need to run more efficient offense so that they can press. But when Louisville has pressed, it's been Syracuse that's been opportunistic in breaking that pressure to score. 53% shooting in the first half for Syracuse. 5 of 10 from 3. They only turned it over 7 times.
Let's take a look now at our first half stats brought to you by Guinness. There's some of the numbers that Jay was talking about. 13 assists on 16 baskets for Syracuse, passing the ball beautifully. They even got Flynn a couple of minutes of rest. They got Devendorf a couple of minutes of rest. Christoph Anjanot appears to be okay. He came out, as Doris mentioned, near the end of the first half. Was in the layup line, and we do expect to see Anjanot in off the bench again for the Orange, and he had a terrific first half. There's an immediate foul on Syracuse as we check in with Doris.
The entirety of the Louisville halftime centered on defense and rebounding. When they found themselves trailing last night against Villanova, Rick Pitino wrote on the board, "How special do you want to be? Pay the price." A similar message to his gentleman tonight. On the Syracuse side, guys, they couldn't have been more pleased. After giving up some early points off turnovers by not handling Louisville's pressure, they felt like they settled down. Clearly, Coach Boeheim thrilled with Devendorf keeping them in the game early. He said, listen, they reminded their guys, Louisville went on that 14-2 run and never looked back against Nova. He said, let's not settle down, guys. Continue to handle the pressure and execute.
Jay, as we sat here at the table during halftime, maybe you can talk about a couple of things we saw from the Syracuse group. This is not a tightly wound bunch right now.
No, they are a very loose group. You had players coming over to say things to us. I mean, they are having fun out there, and the Syracuse alums that are in the crowd are talking to the players. Derek Coleman's here, and he took Rick Jackson aside and gave him a lesson in post play at halftime.
Right out on the court as they're running layups. Paul Harris now with 5 points, and the Orange lead is up to 9.
Remember, against Villanova after halftime, this Louisville team came out much more focused offensively, getting the ball into the middle of the floor and attacking. Now they're attacking off the dribble.
Clark inside to Samuels. Nicely done.
On the first possession, it was Terrence Williams attacking off the bounce, then Clark.
And now Williams comes up with a turnover. Clark the extra pass. Andre McGee kept alive by Williams. Back-to-back baskets for Louisville.
And when they score, they can press. How special do you want to be? Well, they look pretty special when they get in that press.
Syracuse has been paying the price, playing extra minutes, extra overtimes all week long. Louisville trying to show that they can rival the toughness and the ability to pay the price of the Orange. Onuaku hits the deck. Samuels hits the deck.
Now, one of the best ways to attack a zone is with dribble penetration. Move the ball from side to side and then attack off the bounce.
Terrence Williams, the best equipped to do that for Louisville. Samuels has it blocked from behind. Flynn, one-on-one with Williams, and a foul.
Johnny Flynn is a very smart player. In transition after the pass ahead, and Syracuse has done a great job of pass advance. He just seeks out the body of the defender. He knows he's going to get fouled and goes right into the defender's body.
Johnny Flynn at the line for Syracuse. Eric Devendorf with a question for one of the officials, Ed Corbett.
Well, he's asking.
Jim Burr's down with Terrence Williams at the other end of the court.
I think Devendorf was asking Ed Corbett about pinning the ball on the backboard. He thought that's supposed to be goaltending.
Now Flynn ready to shoot the free throws. And more good news for Syracuse. You saw him a moment ago with the scores table. Christoph Anjanot is okay. And back into the game after that terrifying fall near the end of the first half. And even that's Earl Clark, a Louisville player, standing right beside the play, who had to turn his head away, could hardly look as Anjanot hit the court.
And Anjanot had a great first half. He made plays, passed the ball, had 3 assists, 3 rebounds, a couple of buckets.
Jay, you talked about it in the first half. The wings on the bottom of the 2-3 zone come up very high for Syracuse. Jerry Smith gets an open 3 and knocks it down. How can Louisville try to exploit the wings coming up high in the Syracuse zone.
I still think they need to get the ball along the baseline. The baseline is going to be a place where they can really attack, flatten out that zone, and then kick it out to open shooters. And Jerry Smith has done a really good job with his shot fake. We saw it against Villanova. He wound up getting some shots. Here, the shot fake on the closeout. Johnny Flynn flies by, and you've got a wide open shot in rhythm. That's very well done by Jerry Smith.
The ball movement by Syracuse. Flynn inside, muscles it up, doesn't get the bounce. Rebound Clark.
There was some contact out front with Flynn and McGee, but it wasn't called.
Routens closes out on Smith in a hurry. Williams inside, cross court look, McGee, and we are tied at the Garden.
Dribble penetration has been hurting Syracuse, and Louisville is continuing to go to it. When they put the ball on the deck and make one hard dribble into the teeth of that defense, they are getting something good.
Louisville hoping to wear Syracuse down over the course of the night with their pressure, and knowing how many minutes the Orange have played over the last 3 nights. And now a turnover. Anjanat turned his back on the pass, didn't realize it was coming to him. Louisville's got it again.
Terrific job by Samardo Samuels to deny, and Anjanat just turning to try to go the other way. It's like when you cut back door. Once you make your cut, you've got to continue with it.
Timeout, Jim Boeheim. Couple of threes for Louisville. And we've got ourselves a tie.
Please, Danny J.
All right, thank you. We've got ourselves a tie game here in New York. 41-41, Louisville and Syracuse. Let's see who's been heating up. Brought to you by DiGiorno. It's the Louisville Cardinals, Jay, who have been heating up from beyond the arc here in the second half.
Well, they've been knocking down their open shots in large measure because they've been taking much better shots off of dribble penetration. They are getting some open looks. That great shot fake by Jerry Smith that led to a wide open 3. And when they score, they get into that press, and that press is going to have a cumulative effect. It is going to wear Syracuse down, get into their legs, force some turnovers.
Smith, another shot fake, bounce pass inside. Samuels using the rim to shield off the defender, gives the Cardinals the lead.
Well, just that shot fake by Smith set everything up. Syracuse has got to do a better job of staying disciplined defensively and staying down on those fakes.
A 12-1 run, as you can see, for Louisville. It's been a game of runs. Syracuse had the first 6 points. Louisville got the next 11 tonight. Jackson from Anjanat. How many times have we seen that tonight?
Boy, Anjanat is so cool when he gets the ball in the middle of that zone. So many guys get really panicked sometimes when they get into the middle. And he is very poised, and that help from Derek Coleman seems to have worked for Rick Jackson.
Derek Coleman, one of a number of former Syracuse stars in attendance here tonight. Smith slapped it away, and Louisville's got the ball again.
They get so many deflections. They've got active hands, and you've got to be strong with the ball. He got bumped a little bit. That doesn't mean he gets to cough it up.
Williams looking to penetrate, and it'll be a held ball. Good reach in there by Flynn. It'll be Syracuse ball. Well, this is at halftime, what Jay was speaking of earlier. Right during layup line, Derek Coleman's going over and saying hi to Rick Jackson. But after a while, I mean, now he's working with him on post moves. I guess it worked.
It certainly did work. He was ready, had his hands ready when the ball got there, and Derek was a pretty darn good post player himself. As a freshman, grabbed 19 rebounds in the NCAA championship game against Indiana.
Well, under Jim Boeheim, no program in the Big East has been to the championship game of this tournament more than Syracuse. This is the 14th time that Syracuse has played in the championship game. They have won 5 previous Big East championships. This is the first time Louisville's played in this game, just their 4th year in the Big East Conference. Another steal, this time by McGee. A good look for Smith. And a timeout on the floor. The Big East Tournament Championship is on the line here tonight at the Garden. It's tied at 43.
He came to me and said, I'm a great point guard. I'm a great passer. If you get open, I will get you the ball. And the first game we played, he shot it every time he touched it, scored 40 points. And I said, what happened to this great passer stuff? And he said, well, part of being a great point guard is knowing the limitations of your teammates.
Ouch. Another lazy pass. Terrence Williams is fouled. The Orange, Jay, you talked about it before the break. They continue to lob balloon balls just up over the middle of this defense, and that's got no shot against Louisville.
Well, first it was Andy Routens throwing a lame duck pass. Then it was Johnny Flynn stuck in a trap along the sideline. You've got to keep the ball off the sideline where they can trap and use that sideline as a third defender. But if you float a pass, it's gone. It will go the other way, and it's essentially an assist for Louisville.
Third foul on Devendorf. Harris in for Anjanat. Terrence Williams has 5 steals tonight. He has had trouble scoring in this tournament, but he's doing all of the other things that have made him a first-team All-Big East performer this year.
Well, he's a great all-around player.
Harris out ahead of the defense, blocked by Samuels.
Harris kind of double clutched there. He's got to go stronger. He's a strong kid and a great athlete. He has to go stronger.
And now the foul on Andy Routens. The tide turning in the last few moments in Louisville's favor.
Louisville is a great defensive team. Not a good one, a great one. I think it's Louisville and Memphis as the 2 best defensive teams I've seen all year long.
Jay, 3 on Devendorf, 3 on Routens. Very limited depth for Syracuse.
Well, they just have to be smart.
Samuels driving on Jackson. Good move by the freshman.
Using his strength, and Jackson was sizing him up for a shot block. They used that strength and went over the rim.
Devendorf misses the 3. Clark cannot control it. It'll be Syracuse ball.
Now, one thing, you always have to be careful that you don't travel when you get the ball down under the basket and you're shot faking. Yeah, he walked. Shuffled those feet.
Routens wide open on the wing. On a walk to the offensive rebound. Routens will get a second opportunity. And maybe a third. Syracuse has got it again. It'll be Devendorf. And another offensive rebound. So the 4th opportunity of this possession now for Syracuse. They have missed 3 threes.
That's the best time to shoot a 3 is after an offensive board. Syracuse had 3 of them off offensive rebounds in 1 possession.
Flynn defended by Clark right now. Routens wide open in the corner. And now Louisville comes up with it. The Orange with 4 looks from beyond the arc. Williams, Clark, and a foul on Onuaku.
Attacking that baseline, you start wondering about fatigue at this late stage in the game, especially with all the minutes that Syracuse has played.
Welcome to the title game here at the Big East Championship at Madison Square Garden in New York City. Dan Schulman, Jay Billis, Doris Berg, the number 1 seed Louisville, the number 6 seed Syracuse, who beat UConn in 6 overtimes 2 nights ago, who needed overtime last night to beat West Virginia. It has been a back and forth game. Syracuse had a double-digit lead for a while. Well, the Cardinals have played much better here in the second half. What has been the difference since the break, Jay, for Louisville?
Well, it's been their defense. But the biggest part of it, I think, has been the way they've attacked the Syracuse zone. They attacked it through dribble penetration. Instead of just settling for jump shots, they were putting the ball on the floor, collapsing that defense. And when they score, like they just did off these free throws, they can get into that press. And you can really wear a team down once you press and press and press.
How about a 17-3 run for Louisville? The depth of Louisville, the style of Louisville, the minutes of Syracuse, all perhaps working against the Orange right now as Terrence Williams has another steal. And an assist on the 3 by Clark. Timeout, Syracuse.
Syracuse has floated passes in this second half. There have been arc on these passes, and that is allowing Louisville, an aggressive defensive team, to shoot the gap and take it the other way. That is a floated pass. It was not a straight line pass or a hard pass. And the dribble penetration in transition, spotting up in the corner Earl Clark. And Louisville has dominated this second half with their defense.
Tomorrow on ESPN, the day that you've been waiting for constantly from 10 a.m. until midnight, somewhere on the ESPN platforms. If you're looking for Jay Billis, you'll find it. It's going to be a big day for you tomorrow.
Well, it's a big day for college basketball, and there will be a lot of people sitting on pins and needles wondering if they're going to get in.
Is there a team in the crosshairs as far as you're concerned right now, that ultimate 65th or 66th team?
I think it's St. Mary's.
Onuaku gathers and scores. Samuels trying to take the charge.
And you wonder a little bit, Dan, about the mental fatigue that may be setting in for Syracuse. You haven't seen them float passes at all in this Big East Championship. And in this second half, they floated quite a few.
Williams for 3. The lead is 9.
And Williams has really been struggling from the field in this Big East championship. Before that shot, he had not been hitting anything.
Devendorf inside, scoops it up and in. Eric Devendorf with 15 now to lead the Orange.
These guards for Louisville are really active and strong.
Another three. Williams using all of the rim on that one.
Before those last two, he was 4 of 22 from the field in this Big East championship.
He's got as many points tonight, Jay, as he had in the last 2 games combined.
Well, he's feeling it now, and they got into it from the defensive end.
Paul Harris in and out. Louisville has been a good second-half team because of their pressure and their depth wearing teams down. Good position by Samuels, and Harris had to come over and commit the foul.
Well, Louisville's passing has really improved in this second half. Much more crisp, getting the ball into the right spots, moving it from side to side, and that was a shot taken with great confidence by Terrence Williams. I think he's going to be a good shooter. As he gets to the next level and has more of an opportunity to really work on that shot and work on his mechanics, I think he's going to complete his game by becoming a good shooter.
Subs for both teams, and look who's coming in for Syracuse. And again, we're 21 seconds away from a potential media timeout. Justin Thomas, the walk-on, who, because so many guys had fouled out, played 7 minutes in the 6 overtime game on Thursday night. A young man who had only played about 20 minutes the whole season.
Well, who will ever forget the image of him coming in, everybody being completely exhausted, and Thomas playing at the top of that 2-3 zone, doing jumping jacks, active, energetic, and he was the only one on the floor with any energy.
And again, Jim Boeheim just trying to steal a little rest in and around a media timeout for Johnny Flynn here and there, Eric Devendorf here and there.
They ought to go after Thomas every time he catches it.
Knowles is on him right now. Nice feed inside to Harris. Good help defensively. And it's going to be Syracuse ball, Jim Burr says. 12:03 to go. An 11-point lead for Louisville. Johnny Flynn getting a brief breather.
Paul Harris has to go stronger to the basket. He's had some opportunities to score inside. On one, he double clutched. He's either got to score or get fouled when he gets the ball along the baseline.
Anjanot back in. Thomas goes to the bench, so he got 18 seconds there.
This Louisville pressure, it catches up with you. And it is just relentless.
Anjanot being hounded by both Knowles and Swapshire. Puts it on the floor and draws the foul on Jennings. He is working as hard as anybody in this game here tonight. But Louisville, with a great second half, they have turned a deficit into a lead. Is it all finally way? Syracuse down to Syracuse just not making good decisions. Jay, what have you seen?
Well, this second half, Syracuse has taken the ball into bad spots, and they've made weak passes, getting trapped on the sideline. Louisville able to take it the other way. Floating passes. 7 turnovers in the first 20 minutes for Syracuse. Now 7 turnovers in the first 8 minutes of the second half. And Louisville has been magnificent with their defense. They are just relentless, coming at you and at you and at you. They can wear you out when you're fresh, let alone when you're tired.
You can see the huge numbers of minutes that the Syracuse players have played. Basically, with the 6 overtimes on Thursday and another one last night, they've basically played an extra game's worth of minutes. There's been an extra 35 minutes of action for the Orange. Plus, this is their 4th game in 4 nights. It's Louisville's 3rd in 3 nights. So really the Syracuse players are working, having played about 2 extra games worth of minutes than the Cardinals coming into this one.
Well, and they played the late game as well.
Right.
And it's awfully difficult to get sleep after you play in a late game because you're still wired and jazzed from the game. There's no way that any Syracuse player could have gotten any sleep after Thursday night's 6 overtime thriller. No way.
And on top of all that, all things being equal, Louisville's pretty good. I mean, they won this league, and I don't think we want to imply that were Syracuse not tired, they would be winning this game. We have no idea how much affecting them right now, but Louisville has proven themselves to be a terrific team all season long, the regular season champions of this league, and they beat Syracuse at Syracuse during the regular season.
Louisville's not only pretty good, they're better. I mean, Louisville's the better team. Now, that doesn't mean that Syracuse can't win, but Syracuse's story has been compelling. But I'll tell you what, this Louisville team is Final Four and national championship good.
Williams rips down the rebound. Terrence Williams is stuffing the stat sheet tonight. Let's bring in Doris Burke.
Well, Dan, in fact, Terrence Williams telling me that his team packed a little bit of a chip on their shoulder when they departed Louisville. They felt like all the conversation coming to this tournament was about Pittsburgh and Connecticut, despite the fact that they had to go on the road in the regular season finale to Morgantown and beat a very tough West Virginia team. He said, listen, you have to earn respect. If you don't earn it, you've got to go take it. He said, we intend to win a championship for Coach Pitino. It would be a first. This means a ton to these Louisville players, guys.
You know, and Doris, that's a great point, because, you know, the respect they are earning right now has been from their play from the Big East until now. When the Big East play started, because before the conference play started, they did not perform at the highest level. I mean, they lost to Western Kentucky. They got beat by Minnesota. They lost at home to UNLV when UNLV didn't have their leading scorer, Wink Adams. This Louisville team reminds me a little bit of teams that Denny Crum had in the early 80s. Teams that would play a really difficult non-conference schedule. They'd get off to a little bit of what you could call a slow start, but they would learn a lot about themselves, and they would get better and better, and by the end of the year, they were tough as nails, and they might have a few losses, but they were ready to compete for a championship by the end of the year.
And 24 hours from now, they might be known as a team that not only won the regular season title in this league, also the tournament title, and also perhaps a #1 seed. It would seem more and more with some of the other things that have happened this week that a Louisville win tonight would secure them a #1 seed. We'll all find out tomorrow on Selection Sunday.
Well, I think they should be a #1 seed whether they win this game or not, because I think Louisville has proven to be one of the 4 best teams in the country based upon their entire body of work.
You have 3 Big East teams still among the top 4?
I do. I don't think that there's any way that you could reasonably take UConn off that top seed line. With what UConn has done all season long, I mean, they lost twice to Pittsburgh. And I mean, I would invite anyone to play Pittsburgh the way UConn did and see if they can get through those 2 games without losing as well.
Memphis would be a 2 in your
yes.
mind? Yep.
Memphis would be a 2. Michigan State as well.
Anjanada miss. And what about the Duke Florida State game tomorrow? How does that figure out?
I think Duke at best is a 2 seed. I don't see them as a 1 seed.
A foul by Rick Jackson.
And the gauntlet that you have to run in the ACC is really impressive. I just think the Big East was a better league this year. And I think that Louisville has proven, not only through the paper, but also through watching this team play and evaluating them from a basketball perspective. This is one of the 4 best teams in America.
They beat Providence in their first game in a 1-8 game here. Then they beat Villanova last night in the semifinal. A very good team that Jay Wright has.
They took them apart in the second half. And Scotty Reynolds only had 2 points in that entire game.
Samuels.
There's that baseline we talked about. Samuels just hiding along the baseline. The dribble penetration has really been effective against Syracuse.
Johnny Flynn coast to coast.
And you can tell Johnny Flynn just doesn't have the same bounce in his step tonight that he had last night. And it's amazing the high level at which he has performed given what he's been through in this tournament.
Past the midway point of the second half, Louisville, which was down 8 at halftime, up 9 right now, and seeking its first Big East tournament title. A steal, though, by Devendorf. He's got Flynn. He'll take it himself. Flynn can't gather it in for the follow, and the Orange miss a big opportunity.
That's got to be deflating for Syracuse.
Sosa draws the foul at the other end.
Devendorf has got a very good left hand, and he took that ball and kept it in his left hand, and the defense just swiped at it. Jerry Smith really challenging and forcing that miss, and that's one that Johnny Flynn needed to finish. I mean, that was a pretty easy tip opportunity, and it just fell through his hands.
Edgar Sosa at the line for Louisville, a young man who a couple of months ago Rick Pitino called him in and he said, I think you should transfer. And then he stuck the knife in a little bit more. He said, I think you should transfer to a school where they don't value defense. And he really shook the foundation of Edgar Sosa. Sosa came back to him the next day and he said, I want to stay here, coach. I don't want to go. He had a game-winning shot against Kentucky a few days later, and that pep talk, for lack of a better term, that conversation they had, it may have turned Sosa and Louisville's season around to a certain extent.
Well, he challenged Sosa with that invitation to transfer. I don't think it was deep down a very serious offer. But one thing that Rick Pitino has really done, he's stuck with Edgar Sosa. I mean, in the UNLV game, when Sosa did not have a good first half, Pitino started him in the second half. I mean, Edgar Sosa's a really good kid. and Rick Pitino has stuck with him, and he's been rewarded for it. He was the hero of the Kentucky game.
Rick Pitino, of course, a guy who was born here in New York, grew up just about a dozen blocks away, and says this is the biggest collegiate game he has ever coached in this building. He coached the Knicks to a series win of the playoffs over the Phillies, and then coached against the Celtics in the NBA playoffs. But he still loves coming back here. Obviously, a ton of family and friends in New York, and says collegiately this is the biggest game he has ever coached in this building.
He signed his national letter of intent with UMass here in this building.
How good a story is that? After a UMass game, they brought him out on the court, and he signed it right then and there. Jackson does not get the bounce. So the lead for Louisville is 10. Under 8 minutes to go here in the second half. The Cardinals looking to win the Big East title.
ESPN's exclusive presentation.
Up there at the end of his tenure, two of the giants of their profession. And for a couple of years way back when, one of Jim Boeheim's assistants at Syracuse was Rick Pitino. There's a little bit more to that story. Let's bring in Doris Burke.
Well, most grooms on their first night of being married, guys, think only about their honeymoon. For Rick Pitino, so strong was his desire to get into coaching that he actually went and interviewed for the assistant coaching position at Syracuse under Jim Boeheim. His marriage no worse for the wear, guys, approaching 25 years and counting. They're doing all right.
Well, I think the best part of the story that Rick Pitino relayed to us before the game, he said he only accepted the job so he could get away from Boeheim, get back up to his bride. It was and he said yes, well, just so he could move on.
And then the next day he packed his bags and went out to recruit Louis Orr.
The Hawaii trip had to wait. Anjanata with a rebound. And Clark called for the foul, bodying him right into the Syracuse bench. Oh, a timeout was called. Before the contact, Anjanat, as he was stumbling out of bounds, I guess called a timeout. And now Jim Burr and Ed Corbett, they've got different calls. Jim Burr's got a foul. Ed Corbett's got a timeout. And it's going to be Ed Corbett who rules the day. It will be a Syracuse timeout.
Well, you've got to keep the ball off the sideline. And this Louisville team, they call the coffin corner. If you pick the ball up there, you are really in trouble. And Clark was just using his body to body him.
Teams, many of whom were in the mix for a 1 or 2 seed, many of whom are still in the mix for a 1 or 2 seed. But look at some of the upsets in the conference tournaments this week, Joe.
Well, in 2005, North Carolina won the national championship. They lost in the semifinal of the ACC tournament.
Clark with a block. It'll be Syracuse ball. And that's one of the arguments about something like Syracuse is going through this week. As badly as they want to win this, is this something that could hurt them in the NCAA tournament, having to play so many games in so many minutes on so many nights?
I'd rather hang a banner than take the risk.
Jerry Smith injured behind the play for Louisville. May have rolled his left ankle. He got tangled up with Rick Jackson behind the play. Knowles will replace him. 34 in white.
Yeah, Jackson just fell on that ankle.
That could have been a lot worse. Anjanat spins by Clark and is fouled.
The last time Christoph Anjanat had a run out, he wound up on his back. This time, no hesitation, no fear, just takes it to the rim. The nice spin move and use to the left hand, and gets fouled and completes the play.
Cannot convert on the free throw. Anjanat, who it looked like had suffered a potentially serious injury at the end of the first half on a scary fall after he dunked it, was fouled, was all right, came back early in the second half, and still making plays. Brings down the rebound off the Williams miss.
That wasn't a good shot. He needed to pass the ball into the corner, flatten out the defense. He could have gotten that shot anytime, even though he's hit his last two.
Flynn, Routens, Devendorf, Jackson, and he missed it chippy. Boy, a beautiful sequence of passes for the Orange, but again they come up empty.
They just rushed it a little bit, and you can see a little bit of a deflated look in the eyes of Syracuse as they ran down the floor. They know they are missing opportunities.
And there was that one. There was the 2-on-1. There was Flynn trying to follow the miss, couldn't corral the rebound. They've had 2 or 3 golden opportunities that they've missed out on.
So Samuel setting a ball screen out top.
Gets the feed from Sosa.
Oh, that's pretty. Well, you can screen a zone. Little ball screen, pick and pop with Samuels. That was pretty.
How about 14 tonight for the freshman? And meanwhile, the Orange have missed 8 of their last 9 shots. They're down by 9. Flynn. Clark the rebound. And now Sosa's going to slow it down.
That did not look like the normal shot of Johnny Flynn. Not the same elevation. And he looks gassed. Absolutely gassed.
In the first half, Syracuse shot 53%. They are shooting 27% here in the second half, and they haven't made a 3 in the second half.
And Johnny Flynn just had his hands on his hips playing defense. You hardly ever see that. I mean, he's on fumes.
Sosa gets it to go. A little bit of strength there from Sosa. Flynn got his hand in there on the ball. Sosa just forced it by him. Flynn the other way scoops it up and in.
Well, his fumes are pretty powerful.
I mean, remember the incredible total of minutes that the guys in Orange have played. Nobody more than Johnny Flynn. And we haven't seen the smile as much. We're seeing a grimace now. Hands on hips again. No hands up in the zone right now for Syracuse.
Dribble penetration has been good for Louisville. They need to keep it up.
Sosa deep 3. Not the shot Rick Pitino wanted. He slaps his hands together in disgust.
Just didn't need that shot. That shot's going to be there later on in the shot clock. You don't want to settle for jumpers, especially when you're playing against a tired team. Make them guard you.
Number 33, Andre McGee, and number 34, Jerry Smith are back.
Edgar Sosa catching the ball and dribbling into a gap and completing that play with his his right hand, and then Johnny Flynn taking it the other way. As tired and exhausted as he is, he keeps pushing.
And what happens on the whistle, Jay? Sosa and Knowles go out. Here comes a fresh Andre McGee, a fresh Jerry Smith. No subs in the backcourt for Syracuse. Still Flynn, Devendorf, and Routens.
Boy, what a rebound by Earl Clark. And Louisville just going to continue to bring the heat. And nobody brings the heat defensively in the backcourt better than Andre McGee.
A 17-point swing here in the second half in favor of the Cardinals.
The more passes Louisville makes, the more this Syracuse defense has to move. And right now, they don't want to move.
McGee. The lead is double figures, and it's the largest lead of the night right now for Louisville.
Yeah, that was a good shot because they made the defense move. Nobody came out to McGee. It was a shot in rhythm.
Under 4 to play. Anawaku battling with Samuels. Rebound Clark.
Earl Clark has the potential to be a special player.
Got 9 points and 8 rebounds tonight. The clock is the ally of the Cardinals right now. McGee won't use that much of it. Misses the 3. Rebound Anjana. They came back 5 times against Connecticut in the first 5 overtimes as Flynn knocks it down. Timeout Jim Boeheim. Can Syracuse somehow find the energy to muster one more comeback against Louisville here in the final 3:13? That is the final timeout for the Orange.
Well, they need the rest, but in transition, Johnny Flynn was being guarded very well by Andre McGee. That screen by Arinze Anawaku was what sprung him. Want to be. I mean, they are within 3 minutes and 13 seconds of being the most special team in the Big East. I mean, in a year where the Big East was said to be as good as it has ever been and as tough as it has ever been, and Louisville has the chance to be the true Big East champions, regular season and tournament. That's extraordinary.
Syracuse has to gamble and press now, try to come up with some turnovers. And a foul. Johnny Flynn the foul, a timeout on the floor with 3:07 to go. The Louisville Cardinals just over 3 minutes away from potentially winning the Big East championship. They're up 10 on the Orange. Things for this league.
Well, Dave Gavitt along with Mike Tranghese. Dave Gavitt was the visionary of this Big East conference, and Mike Tranghese took it to the next level. I mean, he saw it through expansion and made all the right decisions. And I know how proud he is of what this conference has become, what it will continue to be. And how about this tournament, this championship, to be your last one?
Memorable, no matter who wins it, because of what Syracuse did to get this far. But with each passing possession, it looks like the Orange are running out of gas.
And memorable because of how Louisville has dominated this with their defense. They forced 26 turnovers against Providence. Forced 23 turnovers against a guard-dominated Villanova team. And in the second half of this game, they've shut off Eric Devendorf. I mean, he had 13 points in the first half. Devendorf hasn't gotten a sniff in the second.
There he is driving on Williams and gets the bounce. His first deuce of the second half. And Eric Devendorf has now set the scoring record in a Big East championship, the most points in one tournament. He's moved ahead of Ben Gordon and Sam Young.
Devendorf has had a terrific tournament. And Jim Boeheim trusts him when he's got the ball to make the right decision. He takes some shots that you might sometimes say no, 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 but he knocks them down.
Smith a miss on a walk with a rebound. Syracuse with the ball, 2.5 to go, down by 9. Sports Center is next here on ESPN to wrap up all the excitement from championship week. No games tomorrow, but it was a busy and eventful Saturday around the country.
Louisville has to keep tabs on Andy Routens.
Johnny Flynn not so fast. They have been counted out umpteen times already this week. Not willing to give it up just yet. Down by 7.
Louisville can give up 2s. They just can't give up open 3s. And they cannot foul.
Ooh, almost a travel. And a foul on Flynn. Boy, the Syracuse fans wanted a slip and a travel there on Jerry Smith.
Well, one foot definitely did slip. Let's see if he kept his pivot foot with his other. Now that's a walk. The dreaded logo in the middle of these floors. Roy Williams of North Carolina has talked about it time and time again. They've changed it for the NCAA tournament. They will not have those stick logos.
Double bonus, 2 free throws the rest of the way for Louisville. And Rick Pitino is going to use a timeout.
That's a full timeout called by Louisville.
Clark maybe can be that guy. They've had 7 different players lead them in scoring in a game this year.
They're not a great offensive team, but when they pass the ball and move the ball from side to side and attack, they can score. And when they score and put on that press, they're a special team. Their defense is special. And Andre McGee, who you just mentioned, is one of the guys that makes it special. He and Preston Knowles have a unique ability to put pressure on the ball. And they can get up underneath you. They're really disruptive. Not many teams have guys like McGee and Knowles that specialize in defense.
Trading points, basically. The Orange and Cardinals right now. Not good enough for Syracuse as Devendorf knocks him down. Anjanat will check in for Anawaku. That's 20 points now for Devendorf.
Well, you still have to watch when Syracuse gets the ball. Andy Routens and Eric Devendorf. Those are the major three-point threats.
And Syracuse will force Louisville to make some free throws to lock this up. Tomorrow after.
Neither one of these teams particularly good free throw shooting teams. And efficiency stats, they are ranked 300 and 301st in free throw efficiency.
Out of what, 343?
343.
Yep. All we have to do is think back to Memphis in the last year and how that can catch up to a team. Under 2 minutes to play, the deficit is 8.
Louisville cannot allow open threes.
Anjanat diving to try to keep it alive. He got raked from behind. They play on. No whistle. Earl Clark.
What a play by Terrence Williams. That was a winning play by T-Will.
His 7th steal of the game. Johnny Flynn for 3. The rebound by Clark.
When the ball is loose on the floor and you have to fight for it, that's when players show their toughness. Anjanat dives on it. He's got possession, but it's just taken away from him by Williams, and a heads-up play to throw that ball long. That is one heck of an assist for Terrence Williams.
And Williams having another all-round night. 11 points, 6 assists, 7 steals, 7 rebounds. What a night for Terrence Williams.
He can dominate a game without scoring. There aren't many players that can do that, and he can do it.
Here comes Routens. Here comes Devendorf. Here comes Flynn. An incredible performance by these Syracuse players over the last 4 nights. A total of 7 overtimes. They will ultimately fall short in their bid to win the Big East Championship, but that should not diminish what they have accomplished.
Incredible courage shown by Johnny Flynn and his teammates. They are absolutely spent, drained emotionally and physically. The contrast between a team that's given everything and has absolutely nothing left, and a team that is about to be crowned champion of, in my judgment, the toughest conference in the country.
Johnny Flynn either cannot bear to watch or does not have the strength to lift his head and see what's going on the court right in front of him. And you can make a case, even though Louisville is going to win this championship, can you make a case for Johnny Flynn as the tournament MVP?
I think you can make a great case. I mean, there's not been a tougher player in this championship. I think I would lean toward Earl Clark. Earl Clark has had a magnificent run in this tournament and has been the most valuable player of the Louisville team, and they are the undisputed champion of the Big East.
There's Joseph at the line. And Terrence Williams' smile radiating around Madison Square Garden. Always an outgoing, expressive young man, and awfully excited given his senior season about claiming both a regular season and a postseason tournament title. A hug for Andre McGee, a hug for Earl Clark.
And how special is this for Rick Pitino to win a championship in Madison Square Garden, not far from where he grew up. And this Louisville program has not been in the Big East that long.
And while we have a moment, I want to thank not one but 2 great crews, Jay, who have worked with us over the last 4 days here in New York. Bo Carrot, Chip Dean, and also Scott Matthews and Mike Schwab. Ken Menard, Joe McCoy, Kate Leonard, Tyler Churchill, Drew Irvine, Steve Stetz, Jess Ganella, Brett Walensky, Brian Zwolinski, Dave Korus, and John LaBombarda handling stats. And Sean McDonough, Bill Raftery, Len Elmore, Doris Burke, Alan Hopkins. It has been a lot of fun, and it has been, as you said, it's been an honor and a privilege to be at these games over the last few days.
An extraordinary championship and an extraordinary team in Louisville that has won both the regular season and now the Big East tournament title.
And looking at the very real possibility of a 1 seed, the Syracuse Orange will finish up at the runners-up here in the Big East, also looking at a favorable seed as they head into the NCAA tournament. It was an 8-point lead at the half for Syracuse. The Orange ran out of gas. Louisville wore them down with their depth and their defense and their talent and their execution. And congratulations to Rick Pitino and the Louisville Cardinals, Big East champions.
That's the end of the game. The final score, Louisville 76 and Syracuse 66. Fans, be sure to stay in your seats for the post-game championship.
4th year in the Big East Conference, the Louisville Cardinals secure their first Big East tournament title. We should mention Johnny Flynn is the MVP of the Big East Championship. Louisville placed 2 players on the first team, Earl Clark and Terrence Williams. Eric Devendorf was also on the first team, as was Devin Ebanks of West Virginia and A.J. Price of Connecticut. So Flynn takes the individual honors, but Terrence Williams and the Cardinals are the champions of the Big East.
Tremendous heart and courage shown by Syracuse. But an outstanding performance, especially in the second half of this final game by Louisville. Their defense was spectacular. They just shut down Syracuse completely.
Outscored them 46-28 in the second half. Doris Burke is with Rick Pitino.
Coach, after the first 20 minutes, you left this floor visibly frustrated both last night and tonight. How did you get your guys to respond?
Well, I said it's carbon copy of last night, only it wasn't that we played bad offense, it's that they played really good defense. I said, we're going to have our run. You know we're going to have our run, but it may not be as early as last night. I was wrong. It was as early as last night.
On the blackboard last night, you wrote, how special do you want to be? Pay the price. How did your guys put that into play?
You know, they were so hungry not to be satisfied with the regular season. I said, you're going to look back someday, the toughest conference in the history of the Big East, and you're going to win the regular as well as the tournament. I'm real proud of our guys.
For a New York City guy born and raised to win the Big East championship in a year when it was the toughest ever, what does it mean?
You know, I think what we try to convince with everybody, this is a we thing. I'm a small part of this we. They do the work. We sit in the background and look good. Not me, but the other guys. So we don't, it's the players' game. We tell them what the other team's going to do, and they got to go out and execute. They're the stars.
Coach, you have a lot of guys who contribute, but all year long you've talked about Terrence Williams being a Player of the Year candidate. Can you just evaluate what this guy has meant to you?
Well, I think the key with Terrence Williams is he's multi-dimensional. There's nothing he can't do. And, you know, he's a good shooter now, average to good. But when he goes to the pros, he's going to be good to great, and then watch out.
Congratulations on a terrific win. We're going to grab Terrence Williams. Terrence, congratulations. You came to New York to earn respect in a year where the Big East was ostensibly the toughest conference ever in its history. What do you guys want to be remembered for?
I'm speechless right now. I'm sorry. First, we want to give honor to God. You know, without him, this wouldn't be possible. But we want to be remembered for a team that never gave up. Even losing by 33 to Notre Dame, we still came back and played basketball. When nobody give us respect on TV, we come out and win regular season and at the guard, you know. No matter how bad we played in the past, we came ready to play.
The last two nights, the first 20 minutes, your team did not play terrific basketball. What is it that Coach Pitino said to you in the locker room that allowed you to come out and perform?
Coach P's a very great coach, and he really got on our case for not playing well. You know, he told us with the championship on the line, you guys are not playing the best basketball you can play. He got on me and Earl for being the leaders about not rebounding. So we came out in the second half and turned it around, and everything else is priceless.
Congratulations. Go enjoy your teammates. Stan.
They were down 8 at the half to Villanova last night, and they won. They were down 8 at the half to Syracuse tonight, and they won. They won going away, 76-66. Louisville wins the Big East Championship. Sports Center is next here on ESPN. What an amazing week it has been here at the Garden. There is no place like New York City. Dwayne Anderson, and Villanova wins.
Devendorf at the buzzer. Oh! Good! In the corner. Adrian. No!
Here we go again. On to overtime at the Garden. Memories that will last a long time for fans of both the Louisville Cardinals and the Syracuse Orange. Louisville wins by 10 here in the championship game. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Jay Billis, Doris Burke, and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Dan Schulman saying so long from New York.
University of Louisville,
Just that. 35 times they've gone to the NCAA tournament, third straight year, first time they've won the Big East tournament title, and you have got to believe beyond a shadow of a doubt that the Louisville Cardinals have stamped themselves a rock-solid #1 seed when the brackets come out tomorrow afternoon. Perhaps 3 from the Big East. Who knows? It's been a heck of a tournament. It's been a rugged conference throughout. Dan Schulman and Jay Billis join us from the Garden.
Well, quite a week here at the Garden. For most of the week, of course, Jay, the story was Syracuse and the incredible number of overtime minutes they played. But let's start to the victors go the spoils. And the Louisville Cardinals earned this one. They beat who they played. They played great in second halves. They made shots when they had to. They earned it.
Well, their defense was the story all throughout the Big East tournament. Their defense was outstanding against Providence. They forced 26 turnovers. 23 turnovers against Villanova. They forced 10 turnovers in the second half against Syracuse. They shot 61% in large measure because they attacked off the dribble and they found open shooters. Knocked down 10 threes in this game. They had 6 guys in double figures in this ball game, in the championship game. I thought Earl Clark was magnificent. Terrence Williams played as all around a game as you're going to see. 7 steals. He rebounded. He passed the ball. He attacked. He may not have shot the ball extremely well, but I'll tell you what, that kid's a winner. And this Louisville team has proven they are the best team in the Big East.
In defeat, the Syracuse Orange, though, earned a lot of respect, don't you think?
A tremendous amount. I mean, how often do kids get a chance to play in an epic? I mean, they played in an epic battle against Connecticut, 6 overtimes, then overtime against West Virginia, and then Johnny Flynn showed more heart and courage than any player I can remember. And I don't think anyone, after having watched him play the 4 games he played here in New York City at the Big East Championship, would quarrel with the fact that he is the most valuable player of this championship.
They need some rest. They'll get some rest. They'll open up the NCAA tournament either Thursday or Friday. Let's spin this ahead for both teams. What kind of prospects do you see them having in the NCAA?
Well, Louisville's going to be a #1 seed, and rightfully so. They're one of the 4 best teams in the country. I think they have to be energized by this and to truly believe that they can beat anybody in the country if they defend the way they defended here in New York City. And for Syracuse, I mean, we've talked about them not having any gas left in the tank. Who knows how this is going to affect them? I mean, this is a case of first impression. You know, when was the last time we talked about a team having 6 overtimes in one game, then overtime the next day, and then having to play in a championship game, and what the kind of effect is that going to have? I don't think anybody knows. Are they going to be energized by it? I doubt it. But will they be buoyed by it a little bit and get their rest and get back into things? I hope so, because this team showed extraordinary heart and courage throughout this championship.
Well, let's get some thoughts now from Johnny Flynn. He is standing by with Doris Burke.
Thank you, Dan. Johnny, as much as your team did to get to this moment, how hard is it to take this loss?
Well, it's definitely hard, especially being up at the end of the first half. And Louisville is just a great team. You know, they were way better than us tonight, and they deserve this win. But, you know, I just want to thank my teammates. We battled through 6 overtimes. We battled through another overtime with West Virginia, and we still came out here against a great Louisville team that deserves a #1 seed in the NCAA tournament. And, you know, we played our hearts out.
You're a no-excuses kind of guy and a no-excuses kind of team, but tell us how physically and mentally tired you were through the second 20 minutes.
Well, you know, it definitely takes a toll on us. Louisville pressure is nonstop. They rotate 4 guards in, and Rick Pitino does a great job of, you know, resting and putting fresh bodies out there when we're only playing 7 guys big minutes. But, you know, I don't like to think of that as an excuse, but once again, I just want to thank my teammates for just playing hard and giving it their all tonight.